whoever wants to start can take it away.
All right, I'm good. Who's going to do it? Who's going to take the initiative?
So, Senator Young, there's a lot of protesters outside today. I think some of them, wish they could, be able to get in here and, have a conversation with you. I mean, what do you do to make sure that you're available to your constituents?
I visit every part of the state on a regular basis. I have all kinds of different meetings, sit-down meetings with small groups. I go into businesses, I go into school groups, I do Zoom meetings. The one thing I've stopped doing, unfortunately, because they've become a bit of a circus, is formal town hall meetings where I just solicit questions from the audience. They become political campaign arms as opposed to real opportunities for people to speak up and learn more about my perspectives.
This is a chamber of commerce event today. My dog, she's there. Some businesses are talking about the president's tariffs. What do you do right now when there is this uncertainty about how tariffs affect businesses?
He doesn't know. Well, listen, what I've encouraged the administration to do is to pocket substantial concessions that are being made from many of our trading partners on account of their unfair trade practices, and then reset trade relations so that we can move on and continue to grow the economy. And I expect this is what President Trump will do, but I'm trying to work with the administration to move us in that direction.
With the onshoring of semiconductor production...
One second, please.
Yes.
No, he should answer that. He should know that. My daughter should have the right to teach my grandbabies African American history working for a military school in Germany.
With the onshoring of semiconductor production, do you foresee any CHIPS Act funding coming to Indiana or Bloomington specifically?
Did you say ships? Or chips?
Chips.
Oh, because I actually have a separate shipbuilding initiative.
The ship bill too, yeah.
Oh, so you want me to cover both those?
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah, so listen, we have a great opportunity with respect to Hoosier employment when it comes to chips and ships. In West Lafayette, Indiana, SK Hynix leadership is building a new factory called a fab, where they will help assemble semiconductors, and that will enable this world of AI. But Hoosier workers will be working there in advanced manufacturing, good paying wage, and so that's significant. And then on shipbuilding, more steel comes out of U.S. Steel here in the great state of Indiana than any other state, so there are real opportunities to provide inputs like steel. You got Rolls-Royce and Cummins and various other component manufacturers that also employ Hoosiers, and there are opportunities there should this shipbuilding initiative, which we just introduced, have an opportunity to become law. So I look forward to working with President Trump and other members of Congress on both of those.
Senator Young, you mentioned the idea of taking the Pentagon and turning it into a triangle.
Half jokingly, David. Well, yeah. The suggestion is that there are major savings to be realized.
Right.
I think net we could either see more spending going to national defense and the Pentagon, or less spending. But most importantly, whatever we spend should be spent efficiently. I just wanted to clarify. I'm sorry. I'll give you an opportunity to ask a follow-up.
Sure. I was just setting the table actually for a joke that I wanted to make.
Oh.
The name of my publication is the B Square Bulletin. So if you're going to change it from a pentagon, let's go down to square and not go all the way to triangle. But the question I have, we had a person who was here at the dinner ask a simple question. I thought, do you support due process for illegal immigrants? And why isn't that an easy yes and we move on?
Yeah, I support. First, I didn't want to accept the premise without it being proven by a court of law that there's a deportation of those who aren't illegal, those who aren't here illegal. So that's why I couldn't just say that as yes or no. But I was just about to utter a phrase in terms of my deference to the courts and the need to respect the rule of law as interpreted by the courts. I mean, that's our system. So, of course, I believe that.
Okay.
And it would have been better had I had the opportunity to actually agree agree with the person that instead interrupted me. But no, listen, these are tough times. We're divided in many ways in our country. This person loves our country. I don't doubt they felt passionately about the issue. So, I understand.
From what I overheard, I'm just guessing that this is a question that the gentleman had who left, that his daughter is in overseas school, and he's concerned that his daughter is not being.
And I want to encourage people to speak up. I want to encourage, as long as they're not disrupting events for other people. I think it's great. So that's why I make myself so readily available to all my constituents, to all types of events around the state too.
We have time for about 2 more questions, guys.
Senator, in your
I'm going to give this man because I recognize him, and when I lived in Bloomington, you're a guest.
Yeah, Jeremy Hogan with the Bloomingtonian. While we're on the subject of courts, from your position and I don't know if you can answer the question, but can you give us any insight into why the FBI might have been here a few weeks ago, searching the home of Zhao Feng Wang? Okay.
I cannot.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right. Thanks.
Senator, in your recently released Biotech report, you kind of paint this science fiction made reality by AI picture. What has you most concerned?
Well, first, I'm really excited about the opportunities associated with emerging biotech, opportunities to create disease cures, to come up with new materials that will be very popular among consumers, to clean our environment, and much, much more. And there are a lot of opportunities for Hoosier workers to be employed in the area of biomanufacturing. But what has me most concerned is the fact that China has developed a plan about two decades ago to outflank the United States, to pass us up in some key areas of biotechnology. These are areas of biotech that have national security implications that will outfit their war fighters to win wars against possibly even the United States. And we can't assume that the Chinese Communist Party is innovating in biotech in a way that is consistent with our values. You could imagine some really horrible ways in which they might innovate that could undermine our homeland security and our national defense. So our report speaks to this. We also have a classified version of the report that speaks in some troubling ways about what we think the Chinese are doing or might do and how we might respond. And so that's what our charge is. And I hope to drive our recommendations to an outcome in the next year and beyond, so that the U.S. can keep leading the way in biotech and do it in a way that keeps our people safe and secure.
There was mention earlier in an earlier question about semiconductor manufacturing onshoring.
Yes.
And I think it was last month, sometime this way quickly, but I think it was last month the president mentioned wanting to do the CHIPS Act.
Yes.
Have you had
I can't deny that, right? It was on a large stage.
Yeah. With like today's most recent update, have you had any other new conversations with the administration about how?
I have. As you might expect, the next day I was working the phones and trying to get clarity on exactly what the president intended as it relates to semiconductors. And the president, it turns out, the president wants to change some things that, frankly, I would have liked to change if it hadn't been President Biden that was administering this program. There shouldn't be child care mandates in a tight labor market where you're already incentivized to offer child care, so that was kind of silly. We should allow whoever can perform the labor, whether it's union or non-union, to build these fabs, because they can build them well. And the other focus might have been it was on permitting, making sure that environmental permitting didn't take a really long time, so that we could get these national security relevant fabs up and working as soon as possible. So I agree with the president on all of those. To the extent there are other changes, I told him, listen, I want to work with you to make this successful. So far, the CHIPS and Science Act has led to $500 billion or more of financial commitments. We've seen all 5 leading-edge chip companies locate here on the soil. The most any other country has is 2. I mean, by all measures, it's been a great success, and the fact that we benefit here in the state of Indiana through more jobs and doubling the assessed value of West Lafayette, Indiana is just gravy.
All right, thank you guys. We have to go to the next thing.
Thank you.